All right, let's bring in Kellyanne Conway, former counselor to President Trump, a Fox News contributor and president of KA Consulting. Kellyanne, great to have you here. Obviously, we've been all watching this play out on Capitol Hill. It does appear that McCarthy has lost this 7th House Speaker vote, despite making concessions. So what say you at this hour, and where does this all go next?
Look, inertia is the most powerful physical force in politics unless it is taken over by friction. There's been plenty of friction, but I think inertia really is the force that must be overcome here. The concessions are one thing, but people need to be honest about what would change their vote. And if they're going to say nothing, Sandra, I'm comfortable with that. Then we know that there's nothing that's going to change their vote. Kevin McCarthy, unless he gets a few Democrats to vote for him, will not be able to get the 218. If they are serious about bringing to the table the cards face up and saying, here's what I want, and he mollifies them, he accommodates them, then I think they're duty-bound, frankly, to play ball. And here's why. I know people are watching at home. We're hearing from lots of voters, lots of constituents, lots of people in the quote base, many donors. People are upset with what they see. I think the Democrats are salivating. Republicans feel disgusted. But I want everybody to understand what's really happening here. We have 1/3 of Washington at a standstill. We cannot have members of the Armed Services Committee, the Defense and Intelligence Committees receiving briefings. They don't have security clearances right now. When I was a staffer in the White House, I had a top secret security clearance. And I was a staffer. You have people across the government right now that have more access to more intelligence and defense information than elected members of Congress who, by their very definition, are accountable to the people they represent. So I think we're getting to a little bit of dangerous territory here, almost a mini government shutdown, where things are just not happening until you can constitute. It's getting dangerous, too, because I think you know what happens in government shutdowns. People don't get their benefits. Military families start getting upset. People recognize that the checks aren't in the mail. We're not there yet, but we are dangerously close to going from, I think, some petty personal grievances, also some very real, authentic differences in policy and governance versus not being able to function. Last point, when Newt Gingrich was the speaker, I had been involved as a bit player in the mezzanine in the contract with America. He was speaker. That first election after he became speaker, they lost 5 or 6 seats. He still had control. He still had plus 19, more than McCarthy has. And yet, he didn't run for speaker again. He resigned. And Ken Duberstein, God rest his soul, was one of his confidants. And he had said at the time, I know Newt has the votes to become speaker. I don't know if he has the votes to govern. I think both those questions are on the table right now for McCarthy and others.
Yeah, you wonder what the next 2 years will be like if this process has been so hard. It looks like, Kellyanne, there are still 5 hard no's at this point, one of them being Matt Gaetz, who, and this is called for 0, put out a fundraising email just a short time ago in which he said, if you want to drain the swamp, you cannot put the biggest alligator in charge of the exercise. He voted for former President Trump in his vote just a couple of minutes ago. So he doesn't have enough, McCarthy, to get to 218. But if some members vote present instead of actually for somebody, the threshold comes down. Maybe he could get by with 214, 215. But here's the thing I wanted to posit to you.
Or if they're not there. Or if they're not there.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
If they're not there or if they vote present, whichever way. Sometimes the math changes. But here's what I wanted to ask you about. Kevin McCarthy said on his way to the floor, I wouldn't read anything into the votes today. And we know a lot of horse trading's been going on, which may suggest that there is a deal in the works here. What do you say?
Yes, that's how I read it as well. And for another reason, these deals, look, people have very long and deep objections that they want accommodated, if not mollified, and respected and responded to. So I think deals don't happen immediately if people feel that deeply about their disagreements. John, but I think Kevin McCarthy is taking the longer view of this. And look, if you're him and you've been waiting to be speaker for 7 years, and in the interim has done a really good job on policy. It's not like he voted for the omnibus. People are saying, we had the omnibus. That's Nancy Pelosi's fault. Yep. And speaking of, you know what, folks, we're not going to see Nancy Pelosi sitting next to Kamala Harris and behind Joe Biden ripping up the State of the Union this time. We need to have somebody there. But I think he is taking the longer view, and the longer view could be the next day, the next couple of days. But I agree with you that it's taken a little bit of time to sort out everybody's asks and put them together.
All right, Kellyanne, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.